Hey everybody, we are here at day one of GenCon 2023. We're just getting ready to head inside the convention center and take a look at the crowds. Definitely interested to see what the Lorcana line looks like. I've heard it's pretty nuts out there already, so I think it's going to be an interesting morning. Anything in particular you're looking forward to seeing?
Not yet. I need to take my first walkthrough and then commit later.
Okay. So yeah, we'll take you guys along.
Studies in Sorcery. It is an engine building game where you are studying to get your master's degree in the dark arts.
Love it.
On your turn, you're going to do one of three different main things. You're either going to use your money, which you don't have that much of because you're a poor college student, to buy projects and materials. These projects, they're in different classes, like there's a reanimation one, which lets you get more things done. There's alchemy, which gives you instant rewards, but it takes time to do. And there's sorcery that depends on the phases of the moon. Each round will be a different phase of the moon. So with the sorcery, you're going to have to time those appropriately, but you can get a lot of rewards when you do that. Okay, yeah, I could set up a game that I've played millions of times. It's well, somewhat. There's a card that goes here, but we'll ignore that for now. The second thing you can do is go and grave digging, because, like, again, poor college student, where are you going to get your materials for the magic projects? Well, you know, not where you want to. It's not like you actually have a degree and you're getting paid or anything. So you're going to be drafting. This is called a Winston draft, where you are going to just look at the first pile, and you're like, that's just mushrooms and night crawlers. That's not the best. Okay. You're going to put it back if you don't like it. Put another card on there so it gets slightly better, and go to the next one. Look, that's a fossil. That's worth a lot of money on the open market. So maybe you want this one because it's worth a lot of money. You take it and put a card back so that the next player, they get your rejects plus another one. Hopefully it's slightly better so they eventually take it. And that's the drafting. It has a bit of pressure luck because, like, if you're like, well, what if there's two fossils in this one? Right. I mean, there could be, but like we could just see, and there's not actually. Oh, there's a ring there. So like I didn't press my luck hard enough. That would be $8. That would like I could buy all the things. But I didn't choose that. Normally you don't get to see it. It's just like in your mind it could have been a bunch of night crawlers, but it's not. It's valuables. So that's how you get your ingredients, which you then can sell to the market, or you can use them when you get your projects. Like if I had, this reanimate project, I could then put these two towards it because it does need a skull and limbs to finish this in addition to candle and rooms. What this one does is during when you're committing things, such as putting these here, it allows you to commit more cards because you have more hands to do so. So in a round, everybody either goes here, buys things, including there's candles and vials, which are just available. Here's some candles, here's some vials, and like a lot of projects need them like that. So you buy things or you draft things, or the second option is just to study, where you commit the things you have, and then it goes into the commit phase where you can commit 2 more cards, and then you complete things that are done, and anything that activates, like if you had this one and you completed it, you would be able to draw 4 cards. And they're these cards, so each project you do gets you better at magic, proves your worth, and helps you out in different ways. And that's studies in sorcery. It's the real master's degree experience with some magic in there as well. So that recently I reprinted it and it's back in stock. So I'm excited about that. Another one that recently came back, this one's brand new. This is Wicked and Wise. I will slightly clean this one up a little bit. We'll deal with that in like 5 minutes when I'm like, oh, what do I do now? That's also my Dwarf Romantic scores. It's fine. See, I'm good at casual. I can do this. I'm a normal person occasionally. This is also like my super special sleeved copy that has these hidden cards that are for the expansion that we haven't told anyone about, except right now.
Nice.
So,
Dun, dun, dun.
dun, 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 I'm working on expansion. It looks like that, but sleeved or unsleeved or whatever. Yeah. Pile of cards. Okay. So if I can get things out of bags, which we all should be able to, because like so many things in board games are stored in bags. Here we go. Okay. So, Wicked and Wise. It is an asymmetrical team-based trick taker. There's different suits in the game that are all like the normie suits. But then there's the gem suits. The gem is the trump, so it trumps just like a normal trick taker. But that's kind of where the normalness of this game ends, because it is team-based. If you're on a team of 2, one of you is the dragon, and they're playing a trick-taking game. The other person is Mouse, who is manipulating the trick-taking game. So whoever leads, like say you lead with the star, everyone has to follow, so that kind of dictates what the mouse can do, because the mouse has these abilities at the bottom. So they have to play a star card unless they don't have any, and then they can play anything they want for the ability, where the dragon plays it for the value. So like this one is look at the top 3 gem or basic cards and rearrange them. But some other ones are like draw 1 gem or 2 basic cards, swap 1 with the dragon. So basically like they're taking extra cards and they're like, hey dragon, here's a card, just take it. So like if you were previously out of stars, suddenly maybe you're not. That sort of thing. So yeah, the rules of trick taking kind of change a little. We also have different treasures which give you different powers that I swear I have. We're not going to look at these top ones because also super secret. Shouldn't be on video yet, but it is. That's fun.
Enhance.
Yeah. So when you win a trick, you get your choice of 2 coins, which lets you win, or you get these treasures, which can gain you even more coins or change up the game in some different way. The game is played over 3 rounds, and each round you get goals. Okay? The first round you can choose 1 goal. The second you can choose up to 2, and the third you can choose up to 3. And why that is important is like if you, like this is one of the goals, which is have less coins at the end of the round than an opponent. If you successfully do that in a 2-team game, you get 15 coins. If you have more coins than at the end than an opponent, you lose. And you would have to lose 7 coins. So if at the 3rd round you're not that high up in coins, you might take on 3 goals. So if you win them all, you're great. But if you lose them,
Right.
you're tanked. But yeah, like so you're never truly out because like the escalating, like I could just take on more goals and maybe get them, or I could try to make the other team lose their goals so they lose coins that way.
It's fun.
Yeah, interesting.
So yeah,
I like
it's
that.
just-
I like trick taking with a twist.
I can already tell I'd be very annoyed to get my hand messed with, though.
Yeah. Well, only the mouse is messing with your hand.
Right.
Like you can't mess with the other team's hand.
That's what I mean. If the mouse is messing with me, I would be very frustrated.
But they're on your team, right?
Yeah,
so
they're
they're trying to help you out.
Oh, I thought they're trying to not help me out. Okay.
Oh no,
All right.
they are
Oh.
trying to help you. And you always have a choice. Like when you do a swap with the mouse, they're like, here's a card, just hand me back a card.
Oh, okay.
You can hand them back the same card if that
Okay.
doesn't help you.
I like that then.
So yeah, like there's never like a mouse can like advise a dragon, but the dragon definitely is making the choices. So yeah, like and the dragon has full power over the treasures. So you know each player like has their own thing that they're doing, and like no one is in like the alpha play. And that's
Super
wicked
nice
and
art.
nice.
Yeah, it's really cute.
Yeah, it is Best Sobel.
Oh, I thought it looked familiar.
Yeah, she is fantastic. She's done artwork for me for several games, and yeah. And this was designed by Fortessa Elise, who is also a fantastic person.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's my favorite part of the industry is working with fantastic people.
Yeah.
And that is Wicked and Wise. Now we're gonna slightly put this one away, so I'm still hindered by it, but it's fine. That's what, like, being at GenCon, having somebody grinding beans right behind you for some
Normal.
reason.
Yep.
It's fine.
That'll be
We
good
just
audio.
Go with it. Yeah. And, like, now that I've acknowledged it, people can be like, oh, yeah, I thought that was. Why? Who knows? Where are they? And then we're just talking about board games, grinding beans.
We're just at the local Starbucks.
It's fine. And now we're having an unboxing video, basically, because like I couldn't find one that was unboxed already, so that's fun. Look at these bits. So this is Gift of Tulips. It's really cool because it's both tulips and it's Dutch, which is super fun. I'm Dutch.
We're from West Michigan, where it's full of Dutch people.
Yeah, so you probably understand like all these different meeples. Like you could tell me what these meeples are and why. So we probably should just take them out of the bag because who wants to see silica? Gross. Okay,
Oh yeah.
it's on you. What do you think these
Got
are?
some tulips, the windmill,
Wooden shoe?
wooden shoe.
Yeah, the clog. So you got this one. Now those.
That's a bike, right?
Like a
Yep.
cow in a teapot.
Yeah. So, all Dutch things. If you've ever wandered around Amsterdam, you've probably been offered cheese, seen some Delftware on some pots, and seen people on bikes. Because why not bikes? And now I'm also on camera, unable to open a deck of cards. It's fine.
That's the beauty of editing.
There you go.
It's gonna look like you just tore that thing right open.
I mean, if you want to leave it in and you can be like, hey Carla, has she even played a board game before? Obviously not. Like, can she open cards? No. No in any way.
What are these kiards?
Oh, I like the cards.
Oh, wow.
Those are pretty.
Yeah,
Looks like your grandma's
Yeah. Like,
China.
Yeah.
Or Delftware. But it depends on what where she came from, because like the English have a different word for it. The Dutch version of this is Delftware. Again, like I'm not even going for like the little things that I insisted be there, because I was like, this better be easy to open. It's fine. It's not. Well, it is, but it's just like, I'm also on camera.
Right.
Like, who knows when that bean machine is going to start again. I'm fine.
Trying to beat the beans.
Yeah.
Beat the beans.
Oh.
TM. Next game.
Okay.
Beat the beans.
Okay. So, you have a different board layout for different player counts. It's really easy. You just flip it if you set it up for the wrong player count. Now we move all these little bits out of the way. So this is the festival. Gift of Tulips is a really simple game where you're going to draw a card, do something, draw a card, do something else. So the different choices on what you have are you could keep this card, depending on where it is. If it's in, I put that in wrong order. Gosh. Or maybe not. First, second, third, fourth, we're in another country. So third and fourth place, when you keep it, you get either 2 or 1 points. So that's for keeping it for your bouquet. You can also like give it to somebody else. If you give it, you get points based on the value here and where it's ranked. So if it was in first place, you get 3 plus a 2, so 5 points, which is, you know, more you'd get from keeping it. Or you could put it in the festival, where when you put it in the festival, that changes up the rankings of all the tulips, which is important because at the end of the game, whoever has the most tulips of the like highest ranking ones will get points. Like if you have the most of the first place tulip, you get 15 points. The second most will get 10 points. So the final decision, like in case you don't want to put it in the regular market, you could put it up here in the secret market, where at the end of the game, 5 cards come out of the secret market, change things up, and, you know, maybe like something you were going for actually becomes in first place.
Oh, to maybe change the values?
Yeah.
Okay.
Just slightly.
That's kind of cool. Yeah, I like that.
So like if you say you get cards like you don't really want to give out to people, and you don't want to actually put it in the festival, you might put it up here because only 5 cards come out. So, you know, if people let you, you could just stack all 5 cards so you know everything.
Right.
Or if they see you doing it, they can add more cards so that the cards that you want don't come out, because we shuffled the deck and 5 come out. So yeah, that's Gift of Tulips.
Simple. I love this. Yeah, the blue and white is gorgeous.
Yeah, that is Delftware. If you've ever been to Amsterdam or anything, it's everywhere. It really, so like when I went to Amsterdam, I saw these things and it like really felt like I was at home again, because it reminded me like my grandparents came from the Netherlands and they had all the Delftware and the clogs and the tea and whatnot. So I finally felt like I was at home.
That's awesome.
So that's why.
In general, just like distilled, this is Paverson's goal is to have a highly thematic and mechanisms combined. So in distilled, we were basically craft brewing or craft distilling alcohol. But here we're a family of luthiers, so instrument makers. And so your family is going to consist of these disc workers, and the primary game mechanism is basically taking these workers out and doing blind bidding in multiple locations. So this is a prototype board, but this is the full board, the way it's going to work. You can see how there's 5 different public worker placement slots we're competing over, and then inside of your workshop you have 2 private spots where you can put workers out. In general, what we're after is victory points to win. You're going to score victory points by doing, kind of the things that you would expect out of a family that's making instruments. So we're going to be attracting patrons that are going to basically be commissioning works, and those are set up as requirements on the individual cards. Then you have the instruments themselves that are going to be the primary thing that we're kind of building. But you also have the ability, like with Beethoven here, he loves pianos so much that he'll take percussion, keyboard, like whatever the instrument is. A performance or even a repair would satisfy him, and in fact you see kind of earlier in the game here we've already done a repair action that we got from the repair spot, and that's kind of primed for Beethoven, so all we really need with him left is going to be a stringed instrument. And so all these different kinds of things are in points. You can see the points are scored with the little green symbols here. The graphic design is subject to change too, like we haven't actually worked that out yet. But you can see kind of throughout, all the green spots are going to be the points where victory points can be scored. And so, if you satisfy all the things of a patron, you're going to score points. If you build an instrument, you're going to score points. If you do a performance of high enough kind of quality, you're going to get points. If you're doing repair work on the instruments, you're going to be able to score points. And then you also get other benefits from each of these spots too. So what we're going to do is, with the primary mechanism with the blind bid, you have your workers, and it's basically your family. So it's a family of instrument makers. So the 5 disc represents the master builder, okay? And the 1 kind of represents, the kid that it's their first summer working with the family and they aren't really there yet, okay? So what you're going to do is you're going to take these, and you're going to take the scenario that we're in right now. When the discs go out, they're all going to get you something, but the highest value discs are going to get the first kind of choice of what's going on. So each of these sections has a card market, and so the highest value disc that goes out there is going to basically have their choice. So for us, we're looking at power. We know that everybody has a 5, a 3, and a 1. We know that we've already got a repair for Beethoven, so we're really after the string instrument. I'll look up at the string instruments, and there's just a horn and a violin. We really want that violin. So when it's our turn, we're going to take our 5, the highest power disc, and we're going to put it over there. The other folks are going to put their things out, and you might have decisions like, oh, I see that there's a disc out there, like did they put a 3, did they put a 5? It's kind of interesting. But even on the 1, there's always something you're going to get, and we'll see that here now in a second. So we're going to put all the discs out on thing in turn order, and then we're also going to resolve these in turn order too. So you get to pick, like when it's your turn, you can say, well, I'd like for us to resolve the patrons. Maybe it's because you have an instrument that's coming due that you want to put on that patron, maybe some other reason. Maybe it's because you actually want the resources that goes with it, and it's a dependency for something else you want to do. Whatever the reason is, you're going to pick this one to go here, and then in order to resolve kind of who goes first, the yellow was the first one there, so they kind of have dibs. But what's going to happen is that the higher value craft people are going to move up to the front, and similarly, the blue is going to move ahead of the green. The blue won't move ahead of the yellow because they're the same.
Right.
And then what we're going to do is we're going to then resolve that section. So the red player might they have a choice of the card or resources. They also, because they bid high enough with their skill level, the 4+ here, 4+, each of these are 4+, you get an extra bonus if you go there. And then down in your shop, if you're 5+ or 6+, you get extra support too. And so The 4 might select one of the patrons, the yellow team might select one of the other patrons, and then the blue, they kind of knew they were behind the yellow anyway. They kind of knew that they might not get it, and that's fine because you can also get resources out of this. And so for the patrons, the resources are money, 3 money, plus being able to get an apprentice. An apprentice is a one-time use thing that actually is like kind of mitigation on your worker. It's basically a +1 on that worker. So if it was 4, it would be 5. If it was 5, it would be 6. Hence the 6+. So those things are just as valuable, in some cases, and especially depending on the order of things going on. So as you go, you're going to collect some patrons. You'll have done a repair. And there's some interesting things when you actually gain these. So with the patrons, for example. With the patrons, for example, at the beginning of each round, they're going to actually give you gifts. Like, they want you to do well, they're supportive of you, and you're going to move the cube up and you're going to get whatever gift is kind of on that thing. And if you have multiple patrons, you can get all of them. But here's the thing, as you're giving gifts, this is called the patience track, because if you aren't actually delivering stuff for them, and their patience reaches the end and runs out, they'll actually leave.
Oh my gosh.
And there'll be a negative point on that. But what's cool is there's actually lots of ways to keep them happy. It gets a little tricky if you have 3 of them going, but every time you satisfy one of their needs, so maybe you did a performance or maybe you did a repair that's going to basically reset the track. It also resets if you do the action. So let's say that we got our violin, we put it here on our workbench. This is the roughing table. Then we take the action in order to do the roughing. What we do is we pay the resource cost for doing the roughing. That's going to be 1 wood. We slide it over to the refining table. That action would let you reset your patron. Finishing would let you reset.
Okay.
Doing a performance that applies to that person resets. So it's reasonable to be able to do it, but it does take a little bit of juggling and going. But you can actually have 3 of them going at the same time and still be able to pull it off.
That's a cool idea.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah. It's really neat. And so then, and this could actually happen in the same turn. So you have 3 workers. It's plausible that you actually got the violin and you roughed it and you finished it kind of all in 1 turn. That's kind of a big turn, but if you had all the resources, you can do it. So either this turn or this round or a later round, you're going to flip this one over, and then you're going to basically do the finishing work. So you take the animal piece as well as the wood, and now you have a finished violin. 3 things happen when you have a finished violin. One is you're going to get the victory points for it. The other thing is that you can potentially finish off a patron's thing. So in this case, Beethoven, we had already met the requirement for the percussion keyboard, and now we've basically got the strings. And so now we get the instant bonus for finishing the patron, which is 5 points, plus a move up the reputation track. Reputation track gives you different things, like for example, when you free up the number 2 and the number 3, those actually free up the 2 and the 3 on the market, so you're not just limited to the 2 that are there, but you can go to the 3rd and the 4th one. And if you're doing that faster than the other folks, that's to your advantage. And so you also get the ongoing effect. So you've done so much for this patron, and they're so happy with you that now you're going to be your patron for life. So this little bit on the right here is actually the permanent benefit. You're going to slide it underneath here, and so this is now a benefit that lasts for the rest of the game. So like, for example, in the case of Ferenc, their benefit is when you put on a performance and you do it in the romantic piece, you're going to get 2 victory points right off the bat, kind of even whatever. This is also a good opportunity to talk about the performance. The performance is actually some dice rolling with a little bit of push your luck mechanism going on. Also very mitigatable with these little music tokens in order to be able to build up, so it's not just total luck. But there's a way to earn money. With the repairs, you're basically trying to earn reputation, and also you're advancing up the performance in the craft skill track, which can ultimately lead towards things like having a special power that you can actually swap out your piece. And so like when you end up placing this special disc inside of the thing, like for example inside of the repair track, when this one resolves, it's going to resolve as a 3, but it has this special power, so you're going to basically get 1 bonus material when you're repairing. So you kind of want to use this piece over in the repair thing in order to be able to get that bonus. Okay, so the last thing that's really cool about finishing the instrument is that the instrument now gets to go into the orchestra pit. So the orchestra pit was also useful for when we did this repair. We were able to place a cube basically on the horizontal lines, looking for things that are going to basically get this instant bonus when you place it there. And when you do a music performance, you're looking at the vertical sections and then basically picking out a thing and then taking that bonus. When you finish an instrument, though, you're basically taking first chair in the orchestra pit with that instrument. And you're saying like, okay, no longer when people move a cube in there for doing another thing, you're taking over that spot. You get the instant bonus, and you're blocking out anyone else from kind of moving in there again. At the end of the game, there's an area control kind of thing going on here, where if there's a cube, it's got it. But if you have but nobody once you put an instrument in, nobody's ever going to take it away again. Whereas a cube could come in later and bump you out, that kind of thing. So. In the balance, like you end up with some engine building through the tableau. Kind of like recipe fulfillment with the with the different cards. You're doing some like resource management. It's also a piece that I didn't call out because we don't have the board for it, but there's a market for buying and selling materials. So like in different rounds, there can be different prices. So you might, the steel is kind of more valuable than the wood. So at some point, you might sell a steel for like 7 and then buy 3 wood for it. That can be really useful as you're kind of working through and trying to have those mega rounds where you're kind of doing all the things at the same time. So some like resource management, some area control types of things. Ultimately, though, the real winner as far as the mechanism is the blind bidding and the worker placement on it. It's really a blast to play.
This looks great. When's the release?
It's a Kickstarter June of next year.
Okay.
But the game is generally finished. We're kind of waiting on artwork and kind of the rest. Working with Vincent Dutrait.
Yeah.
But Dave's going to be sending out kind of review copies and stuff like that to reviewers like in January. So and the Discord is open right now, and we're actually doing this on TTS. We've been play testing it for a long time.
Oh, you guys have it on TTS?
And we're actually doing if you sign up and you get there, just like everything, you got to be first. But in the Discord, folks can come and you can play it now. So
okay. Yeah, might have to stop in and check that out then.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I'm very excited about this.
It's really fun.
Yeah, it looks great.
I first played it I guess last December. It was pretty close. It was pretty close to this, but like now it's really settled in and like nothing's changing anymore, which is why we're talking about it here. Yeah, it's really fun.
Great. Thank you for showing us.
Absolutely.
Hey everybody, GenCon Day 1 is in the books. It was very hectic. It was really busy. Busiest that I've ever seen. I don't think my first year coming was 2017 for the 50th, and that one was probably the next busiest, but I think they said somewhere around 80 to 85,000 this year.
Yeah, that's what I heard.
And so, yeah. Oh, good. Perfect timing. Lorcana was crazy. They were... I don't even know if I know the full story.
Yeah, I know what I've heard on Facebook.
Right.
And sounds like a mess.
Yeah. So what happened? Like there was like some folks started a line.
Yeah.
Just randomly on their own.
Yep.
But there's no lines.
Yeah, people started lining up around 4:30 a.m. and we're in line, and then I think around 8:30 or 9 a.m. GenCon workers let them know they don't form lines to go into the vendor hall. So then, mad rush of people from the back of the line, or who hadn't even gotten in line yet, jumped in front of all those people that had been waiting for hours, causing a lot of anger and annoyance.
Yeah.
It was like a soap opera yesterday to watch all the updates on Facebook. No one could look away.
Yeah. And then, so last night they decided to, Thursday night they decided to actually do a line overnight. And so they opened up so that people could come in and camp in line for their Lorcana cards. That seemed like an odd decision to me, but I don't know.
Yeah, as of last night, they had 13 people waiting in line. Overnight, they put a rule you couldn't hold place for other people. So those people were in line all night. And then, as of this morning, there were hundreds, if not 1,000 plus in line.
Yeah.
I walked down to the hall already this morning and came back, and that line is stretching around the block. All for Lorcana. You crazy, crazy people.
We were seeing the cards up on eBay yesterday too for anywhere from $600 to $1,400 for a single card.
Yeah. Every time I see that kind of stuff, it makes me glad I don't get into the TCG side of things or CCG side.
Absolutely.
No, thank you.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
As far as games that we picked up yesterday, we didn't spend a ton of time in the hall because it was so busy, at least for like the first part of the day. Let's see, we ended up picking up Tiger and Dragon from Oink Games, and we got Wild Tiled West from Direwolf, which we had played at least half a game of in the Board Game Geek Hot Games room and thought it was really good.
Yep.
So we ended up swinging out and picking that up. And then we picked up a copy of Demon Worker from the consignment room. What'd you end up grabbing?
Yeah, so I had kind of the luxury benefit of running through the hall by myself, which isn't something I normally do, but it's kind of nice because when you're solo, you have the ability to bob and weave through the crowds easily.
Yeah.
So I was able to get through the whole hall in a couple hours. Honestly, though, I didn't buy a lot. Most of my purchases at GenCon are on the flea market, used copies from other people, but I did pick up a couple of things that I've been waiting since last GenCon to get. That was Dice Thrones Season 1 promo pack and a new playmat for Aeon's End, which I passed up on the last Kickstarter and have been waiting for it to be available again, so I grabbed that. And then a copy of Zendo, nice abstract game that I've heard a lot of good things about that I've had my eye on for a while. So that was it for day one for me.
Yeah. So right now it is the beginning of day 2. So we're gonna close out the day 1 video, and then we'll see you for day 2.
Bye.